Hi, you're listening to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. I am a licensed real estate agent, and I'm also licensed in Arizona. I am the director of the Trust, Probate, and Divorce Division at Keller Williams, and we're really excited to be educating people in many ways to help them navigate through the process of dissolutions of relationships, or just purchasing a home or selling a home, even if you don't have a dissolution of a relationship. Today I have an amazing person, an amazing attorney with me, Edna Felix. She owns her own law firm here in California, and she is an estate trust and probate attorney, and she is amazing. She's had her journey in law, so she's touched on different types of law throughout her journey to get to this place. Edna?
Hi, Mina.
Hi, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So tell us how you started your journey in law, because I know you mentioned it to me before, and I thought it was very interesting.
Yes. Well, I knew since I was 5 years old that I wanted to be an attorney, and I knew what that meant. I knew what being an attorney was. So I was like, when I grow up, that's what I'm going to do. So my parents, I'm a first generation here in the United States of America, and my parents, I think at the age of in 2007, so I think I was like in my early 20s, they left to Mexico. And, they're like, you're a grown-ass person. You go live your life. So at that time, I was an undergrad. So I, graduated, and then I took a year off to prepare for the LSAT, and then I took the LSAT, and then I went off to law school. So I kind of just had to find my own way and, make my dream happen, because I knew nobody else was going to help me do it but myself.
Right, and I know that you started in different types of laws. If you want to talk about, I know you had different things that you did in helping children, and so the whole process. You want to go a little bit into that, because I found it to be amazing that you did that.
Thank you. Yes. So when I was in law school, I clerked as a personal injury assistant, and then I did that for 3 years, and I also did 3 years criminal defense. So when I passed the bar and was sworn in, I knew personal injury and criminal law, and I didn't know anything else. Then a few years in, one of my friends from high school needed my help, and I was like, I don't know anything about family law. Like, that's just an area that I've never practiced. So then they just kind of sucked me in, and I was stuck in family law for 6 years. Also, when I first started my practice, all I knew is that I wanted to really practice state planning. That's what I actually wanted to do, state planning only. But because of my PI experience, I felt more comfortable taking PI cases, because I didn't even know anything about wills and trust other than what we had learned in law school, which is not the reality of how to practice wills and trust in the real life. So, so then I just kind of started taking courses and doing my own thing in state planning. So I started doing PI in state planning, but then I was sucked into family law for 6 years, and I even became a minors counsel certified, which means that I could represent minors. And when there's like family disputes, when like dad wants child and the mom wants the child, so I meet with the child independently, and I become their own counsel. I become their voice.
Right.
So, yep, that's how I was torn into different areas of law.
And that's a challenge. But the nice thing is, because you've experienced all these different angles of law, right, it brought you to a place where you became an amazing estate, trust, and probate attorney, and you're able to see different sides from your experience. You didn't just do one thing. And I think that when you have a diverse background like you do in different areas, you're able to see things that someone may not be able to see in a dispute or in just planning, because, a lot of times, people have all kinds of agreements and people miss things. And that if you miss something, it can present a real problem for the individuals and the families. So when you, talk about, and I know you're bilingual, and you're fluent in Spanish, and I think that's great. And I think that, when you talk about estate planning, do you like to sit down with the families? I know you have many ways for people to sit down and have you help them with an estate plan and a trust, and deal with all the different angles or family dynamics, is where it can get a little dicey, right? Because everybody's got to say what's going on. Any children out of wedlock, anything that was potentially could be an issue down the road when you do estate planning. How do you handle it? Do you talk to the families together? Do you talk to them separately?
Yes, that's a really good question, and that is one of my concerns, always meeting with families, and I make it clear to the caller, right? So usually the caller is, a lot of the times I've noticed, it's not really the client, it's really somebody else calling on behalf of that person, trying to gather information, such as a daughter or a son, right, where they speak English and my clients are not, don't speak English, so they want to gather all information. I do speak to them, to that the caller, and I answer their questions, but I do make it clear to them that my clients would be the person that I'm doing the trust and the will for, or any other power of attorney document, not you, even if you decide to pay my fees. And then I do, either that same day or the next day, once they relay the information to the potential client, then when I do speak to the client before I meet up with them, I make it clear that they could meet with me alone. It doesn't, like, their children don't have to be present. No other family member needs to be present unless they want that person present. That's fine. But they don't have to, and I want them to feel comfortable enough to answer my questions with sincerity, since this document is going to, it's going to help them for their future when they're no longer here with us. So I want them just to be comfortable, not to feel coerced. Of course, if they do decide to have a family member present, I'm always very observant of, the way they speak to me, the way they answer my questions. Do they look at that person first before answering my questions, So I assess the situation, and then that's how I know, or I rule out whether this is an abusive relationship or not.
Right.
But and if I do notice that something's going on, I have asked, that family member to step out, please, because these are like personal questions, and that I don't, want anyone to hear the answers. And I have asked that, but it's rare. It's rare. Usually, the children that call me, they're doing it for their parents' best interest. So they have great intentions at heart. Yeah.
Right. To help to make sure that their inheritance is secured, right?
Yeah, of course. Because, at the end of the day, it's going to be their assets, so
That's right.
They just want to make
sure. Interest.
Yeah, they have an interest. They're the beneficiaries.
That's right.
So, I actually just had a client pass away a few days ago, and he just inherited one of his daughters because he had already provided for her in her lifetime. So he didn't, think that she deserved anything after he passed. And I did their estate plan in 2020, and he passed away a few days ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's really yeah. So when you talk about some dies intestate and probate, and they're minor children. And obviously no one is noted as the guardian, which I think is really important for people to have an estate plan if they have young children, because if you become incapacitated or you die and you have young children, there are no rules to where they go, and they may fall into the wrong hands. So how do you deal with that? Because I feel that it should be top of mind with people with young children.
Yes, and that is, I have my two, rules of thumb, which is one, if you own a house, you must do a estate plan. Two, if you have young children, you must do a estate plan. Whether it's a will, whether it's just a legal, guardianship document, power of attorney, whatever it is, but you need to have some sort of plan. I can't stress it enough how much I emphasize this to my friends, to my clients on social media. Every time I do any type of talk, it's, you have minor children, you have to have a plan, because yes, there's no default. The default is the state. The default is foster care. So if your children, if nobody ends up claiming them for whatever reason, if all of your family's abroad or whatever may be, you're going to have no say. You're going to be gone. Your children are going to end up where they're going to end up, or they could either end up, with the state, or they could end up with a family member that you would have never wanted them to raise your child, So, so that's big. That's, by you creating a estate plan is you are taking matters into your own hands, and you're saying, if something happens to me, this is plan A, this is plan B, this is plan C. That's it. So
can they, let's say they have family in, hypothetically, Mexico or whatever, can they have it in there that they go to the sister and live in Mexico with the sister?
Yes, they could have it in there. That person, the potential legal guardian, it's not, their signature is not required. The only signature required is the principal, which would be the client, designating that. But then the other question comes is, can that person come and claim the child? Are
right.
They have a passport?
That's how do you work that? That's an interesting concept, because it happens. If you don't have anyone here and you have people that are competent to take care of your child somewhere else, what do you do out of the country, right?
Exactly. Or do you have someone that you rely on here in the States to transport them out of the country and deliver them safely to that family member?
But what happens if they don't? Can they come and get the child if they don't have rights to be in the United States?
No, because that's federal government.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do they get the child? If someone missed that boat, right, missed that one thing, right? Remember we talked about crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Yeah. How potentially would the state deliver the child to the person in another country?
Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of questions your state planner needs to ask, right? Like, who's this person? Yeah. Who's this relative? Do they have a passport? Do they have a visa? Do they have a tourist visa? Can they come? Meanwhile, where are they going to stay? Who's going to watch them until that person buys their tickets, able to take time off from work and come and pick them up? Or can you have someone travel with them to, abroad and deliver them safely? Like, that's the plan. That is part of your state plan. That is you planning everything, and you accidentally leaving this world with that peace of mind, knowing that you did the best that you could while you were here, and you planned it you planned out every single scenario that you could.
I wonder if some countries have conditional rights to come into the States, like some people get work visas. I guess each country would be independent, because we have treaties tax-wise with some countries like England and Canada. I wonder if they would issue. I've never explored that because that goes really deep. As you can see, I'm a critical thinker, right? If some countries have conditional opportunities for someone to come to the States for a period of time to be able to do this. It'd be interesting to find out. I would assume each country would be independently, where the embassy would allow someone to do this. It'd be interesting to see. Actually, I'm going to try to find out.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good question. That would probably be a good question maybe for like an immigration attorney,
Yes, right. And then, that just in case, that potentially could be part of the estate plan, that they will have a conditional opportunity to potentially, to go get the child if it's for, that purpose only. And that would be an interesting dynamic, because I'm sure some countries, so I'm not sure, but I assume some countries will allow that to happen if that was the only choice, other than leaving a child with strangers in the state, because as we know, just unfortunately, things happen. I mean, the owner of the Malibu restaurant, 60 years old, died with his 14-year-old son last week.
Yeah.
In a car. And, just the fact that he didn't plan on dying. I mean, I was in tears. It was so sad. And many people knew him, right, because he was a neighborhood guy. And people came to Moon Shadows all the time. And it was so sad to hear this.
Yeah,
because
it was.
It's like the guy took a ride with his child, or, they were going home or whatever. He's a 6-year-old man, 14-year-old little boy, and never came home. We were killed instantly. And, this is a wake-up call for a lot of people to know that there is nothing is short in life, right? You plan, we get health insurance. People don't plan on getting sick, right? It's the same thing as an estate plan. But if you do get sick, you have insurance. You don't have to sell your house to pay for things, potentially, right? And an estate plan is just like insurance, like health insurance. It's an insurance product for yourself to have everything in ducks in a row. Otherwise, it can take, going into a probate, a litigation type of thing, or anything legal costs a lot of money. Yeah. So, this is, really, I love, how you really go deep into all of this. Now, what's a good way for people to reach you, Edna?
Yes. So you can either reach me at my contact number, which is 818-533-6571, or my email, which is edna@ednafelix.law. Those are the best ways to reach me. Also, if by any chance I get a phone call and it's missed, another alternative is just to send me a quick text, since I'm able to see text messages, reply, but sometimes I'm not able to answer the phone call. So,
right.
Yeah. And then they could also check out my Facebook page. It's Law Office of Edna Felix, and my Instagram page, which is Edna Felix, Attorney at Law.
And also, we stream live on KHTS Hometown Station page on Facebook. So people can always go to the KHTS, or the radio show that we're on right now, go to their Facebook page, KHTS Hometown Station page, and just put in listed by Mina Kuper, and we will pop up. We're on there now. And what goes on Facebook usually stays on Facebook. They also, if they don't use Facebook, because not everyone does, the KHTS radio app that they can download on the App Store will have all the same information as we're listening live on 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. So there are many ways for people to swing back and get your information. Of course, they can always call me, 310-345-8500, right? So, Edna, I want to say thank you for being on the show. I look forward to working together and helping more people. And, I love the fact that you care. You go anywhere in California to help people that need your help.
I do, and I love what I do. And I was just telling my husband the other day, I'm like, I think I want to do this till I'm like 75 years old. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, I'm going to retire next year.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so I really do love what I do. I love my clients. I fall in love with their stories and with their unique situations. And I feel that when you find that passion and that love in what you do, like, it's not work for you. It's not called work, right?
No,
it's like you wake up motivated and you want to do this. So, yeah.
I do, when I, go into their properties and I have the families there with me and we see a 95-year-old dad that passed away and you're able to look at his bat that he used when he was 5 years old and his rocking chair. That is so special to go through things with some of the family members. It just really is something that stays with you for a long time, just the love and the history behind it. And that's why I do what I do. Because people ask me, where'd you get into trust and probate and all this stuff? And I said, and this is the reason, Yeah. So really I understand it. And I look forward to talking to you more and seeing you again soon.
Yeah, likewise. Well, thank you for having me today. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Of course, always for special people like you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Hi, thanks for listening to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. We're at 1220 AM, 98.1 FM. You can also listen and watch us on the KHTS Hometown Station Facebook page. We'll always be on there. And if you don't use Facebook or you're not on the radio listening, then you can also download the app at KHTS Radio and watch us there because we have some amazing people on the show. I started the show back in 2020 when the lockdown happened because I realized that there was so much quiet. I needed to do something and talk to the world about all these questions and situations, and there were people with, the pandemic, and, I thought that, wow, nobody knows what to do here. We were really in a bad place, and it motivated me to have an informational radio show. I'm also the director at Keller Williams for Trust, Probate, and Divorce Division. And today I have an amazing woman and attorney. Her name is Sara Naheedy, and she is a partner at the Revolve Law Group, and she has her focus in real estate law, and she's just a wealth of information. I always ask her questions because they're always changing. The law in real estate is always changing. Sara, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Mina, for having me on your show, and I'm so excited to be here and to be a guest on this great radio show that offers people an opportunity to tune in and learn about the ever-changing world of real estate.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I don't know how you keep up with it. It's like, okay, you wake up in the morning, all right, it's over, the moratorium's over. Oh, no, we're going to put it back. So that is the big question, and people ask me all the time, and they always change their mind, and I never know the answer. So we're talking about an L.A. County moratorium that is supposedly going to end, and it started, I don't know exactly when it started, probably the pandemic time, right?
Yeah, it started in March of 2020, and L.A. County extended it several times. It is currently set to expire on January 30th of 2023, which is one of the longer moratoriums. I mean, I'm based in Orange County, and our moratorium was over in 2021.
Wow.
So, yeah, landlords have been able to move forward with evictions here in Orange County, but for clients and people in LA County, there was not much I could do to help landlords who were looking for help to evict tenants who weren't able to pay or whatever the situation was. There was just a hard stop on any evictions in LA County.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it set in stone, January 2023, or it's just something that's out there pending approval for the moratorium?
As far as I know, it is set to expire in January of 2023. But like everything else since the pandemic, this is an ever-evolving field.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this since 2009, and I've never seen so much change in landlord-tenant law since COVID came onto the scene. So I believe it will expire in January of the new year. But again, these things are up for, potentially litigation or legislatures to make new decisions.
Right. I would feel so bad. People would call me and they're like, they bought, rental properties, whatever, and they don't have that kind of disposable income just riding it out. And one person that's not paying for the multi-unit or whatever really put them behind, and their family suffered. And I would feel so bad because I know what to say. It would be it's a tough situation, and I pray that it does end January 2023 because we need to get back on the bandwagon. Otherwise, lives will be ruined with people who had made such a large investment in real estate in LA County. So, I know you touch on many areas of real estate law, and I find it so interesting. How does Revolve Law Firm help real estate clients? Like, when people come to you, you tell the audience why they come to you. What are some important reasons?
So at Revolve, our motto is "Our world revolves around you." We are a female-founded and female-owned law firm, and we pride ourselves on our ability to be responsive and empathetic and put our clients first. So my partner, Kimberly, and I, we share, the same values of integrity, tenacity, empathy, and we believe that women have a special power to be empathetic and to be resolution-oriented.
Yeah.
Although we do litigation, and we are a litigation firm, we try to resolve disputes as quickly and efficiently as possible. And we really pride ourselves on putting ourselves in our clients' shoes and walking them through the stressful process and trying to get it done in a way that's not going to cost them everything they have.
It's interesting when you talk about a women-owned firm. I love that because, at the end of the day, if you think about it, whether you have a dog or a child, if someone tries to harm that living, precious thing that you care about so much as you do your client, you'll stand up, you're going to fight. You say, you're not doing this. This is not okay. So when you think about a women, when they're protecting or vicious nurturers, we really are.
Absolutely. I think
we will do whatever it takes, and we will find a way to make it happen, whether it's a client, whether it's a child, whether it's your pet. We're going to take care of it. We're going to do 7 things and multitask or quadruple task to make it happen, where, that's where women come into play when we have situations that require that. Some people can only do one thing at a time, and unfortunately.
Yeah,
the
they
life
have that.
We live in a big city requires more than that.
Yeah, they have that saying for a reason, right? If you want to get something done, give it to a very busy woman.
That's right. My dentist said that. He goes, I watch you and I listen to you. He said, you remind me, he's an older gentleman. He has a twin brother. He's a great guy, great man. And he said, he goes, I listen to your shows. I watch you on Facebook. I watch what you do. He says, you remind me of my sister. He says, if I have something to do, I would give it to you. He goes, because I would not give someone who has nothing to do something to do, because you get everything done. And that's exactly what he said.
Yeah. I mean, we have an unbelievable ability to multitask and to get solutions and get resolutions quickly. We try to put our egos aside and really dig into the details and figure out solutions to problems.
Yeah.
So I think, women do have a superpower in that sense. And I also think that psychologically, we are probably more empathetic. And that really gives us ability to resonate and understand the client's situation and to treat them as if, we would treat our own family members or, our own, the people that we love and care about. So
yes,
it's not unusual
to nurture.
Yeah, it's not unusual for us to become friends with our clients, and it happens a lot. And we care about every single person that comes our way, and we purposely don't take on too many cases so that we can give each client that individual attention that they need.
Yeah. No, it's really great. I know, I know the kind of work you do, and exceptional, detail-oriented. You get the job done. If it's not possible, you'll know it's not possible to do it. But there's an opportunity to help someone with such ambiguous things sometimes, right? It's not always just laws. How do you get this done, right? So with the big question where everybody asks me, and I'm sure they super duper ask you, the shifting markets and the opportunities it brings.
Yeah, so people are tending to be very doom and gloom and freaking out about this market shifting. But if you look historically at interest rates, for example, interest rates 40 years ago were, 15, 16, 17%.
Yeah.
So people who don't have, the experience or the memory, they don't realize that historically, even at 7% interest rates, which we have around now, that's still really low. So I think people should, stop freaking out and stop focusing on interest rates and focus on the fact that, the market is softening. This is a huge opportunity for buyers to get in the game. And the fact that, prices are softening or lowering. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. It's all in the way that you view it.
Exactly. Because all the real estate people that live off their real estate assets and income all bought up when there was something going on, when there was a downturn in the market. They didn't buy at the peak of the market. They bought when, you save your money or find a way, get a partner, whatever. And it's an opportunity to buy property and create real estate wealth. I love real estate wealth. It's the biggest retirement vehicle for most people that had the bandwidth and the knowledge to be able to purchase properties and collect income.
Yeah. What would you say to somebody who is just starting out or doesn't have a whole lot? I get this question a lot, and I'm sure you do too, Mina. How do you work towards creating passive income and creating wealth through real estate?
Well, I think that, it depends on, if they want to start out. I'm licensed in Arizona also. And, there's opportunities there for income-producing properties. Real estate's less expensive, although it went up a lot there, to diversify or, get your ducks in a row if you want to have property in California to get enough money to put down. Multi-units are great if you're looking for investment. I'm almost like the type of person, it depends on your age, but I'm like, it's better almost to buy rental income and get income than buying a house to live in first.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Because then
I
you are,
agree that
with $10,000 nut every month, and then you need more income, and then it kind of stops you from buying your investment properties, right? So which came first, the cart or the horse? But there's so many great products in the market. The market is softening up that I think because the rents are high, because people need a place to live. Okay, people need a place to live, and they want to come to California, right? And we're going to take a break. I just got the cue. Sarah, stay with me. We're going to come right back. We'll have a commercial break. You're listening to Listed by Mina Kuper. We're about real estate, trust, probate, divorce, and more. And you're listening to 98.1 FM, 1220 AM. And also, if you have Facebook, you can go on our KHTS Hometown Station page, watch our show anytime there. But if you don't have the radio on or you don't have Facebook, you can download the app, because I'm sure everybody has a phone, for sure. If you don't have a phone, you accidentally left it at home. So you can go to the KHTS radio app and download that, and you can listen to the show there. So we were talking, I'm here with Sara Naheedy, who is with a partner of Revolve Law Firm, and she's a real estate attorney. And we were talking about buying property, and we talked about, like, you know, how do you build wealth, right? And we're talking about the opportunities that the interest rates are going up right now. The interest rates are kind of normal. 2% was outrageously low. But, you know, people buy now. You know, they're starting to buy now. And, you know, what I said is, like, well, depending on your age, it's better almost to buy income property first and then buy a home for yourself. You know, do it the other way around, because you can pay for your property that way. And leading into that, we wanted to talk about asset protection for real estate owners, and this goes for investors since we're on that subject. Sarah, do you want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so a lot of times I will see a brand new landlord make some rookie mistakes when they're first starting out with their first real estate investment property. And, you know, one thing that's very important as a landlord is to have as much asset protection as you can. I always advise my clients to create an entity that is separate and apart from you as the person and the individual who owns the property. So creating an LLC, creating its own separate bank account, and also having liability insurance. A lot of times I've seen a new landlord have a situation where a tenant will slip and fall or injure themselves on the property, and then they realize that they don't have liability insurance. And that's a huge risk and very scary, because when that tenant ended up suing the landlord for a personal injury, which happened at the residence, they had no insurance coverage and protection to defend against that lawsuit. So it's really important to have property insurance, liability insurance, create as much of an arm's length transaction and minimize your risk by creating each property in its own entity.
Right, I like that, because this way you're separated and your personal assets will stay away. Because, right, if someone is badly injured, they can potentially own that property, or they can garnish your wages or whatever, have a lien or judgment on you if you don't have insurance. And, you know, it could be a lifetime one, and it could be very costly. That, you know, it's one thing I do when I go to, when I'm a buyer's agent, when I'm working with clients that are selling or they're buying, 1031 exchanges. You know, they have so much going on, and I always look to see what kind of claims there were. Insurance is so important. You know, I always look to see what kind of insurance can we get on this property.
It's
sometimes
hugely
the fire
important. Hugely important and often overlooked. But if you are in the business of being a landlord, you need to absolutely have great insurance coverage. You need to create separation from your property investments. And also, you need to have an attorney, essentially on speed dial or on retainer, who can advise you on the ever-changing laws. And also, when you do have a problem with a tenant, because it probably will happen at some point, you need a trusted advisor to go to.
Oh, for sure, because if you make a mistake, it can cost you a lot. And, Sarah, we can talk for another hour, and we will another time, but we're going to have to wrap it up because I only get an hour on the show. With breaks, it's less. Because, I mean, this stuff is so important. I just can go on and just educate people because it's so important. How can people reach you?
We have a website. It's www.revolvelawgroup.com. You can find all of our contact information there. And I want to say thank you so much, Mina, for allowing me to be a guest on your show today. And I look forward to hopefully coming back.
Yes, and thank you for being so kind as to answer questions that some of my clients had that really has meant so much to me to know that, I have someone that I can ask questions because I don't assume with this stuff. I am not an attorney. And because they change literally that you can wake up in the morning and it can be something else going on. And you're dialed into that. And it's so important because these are large investments and this is your life savings. And so you really need to do it right or don't do it. It's so important to cross your T's and dot your I's. And I want to thank you so, so much for being on the show. And thank you for being there for me and my clients.
Thank you. Anytime.
Okay. Have a good rest of the day.